Good evening, everyone. My name is Jin Jun, and on behalf of the NYU Meyers Alumni Association, I'd love to welcome you to another Meyers Marvels event. This is at least second or third one that I'm doing this welcome remarks, and each time it's very exciting. NYU Rory Meyers College of Nursing is committed to producing lifelong learners who will excel in their nursing careers and be recognized as leaders who keep patient-centered care and the health of society at the forefront of their values. Meyers graduates hold positions of leadership in the profession, practicing in diverse clinical, academic, and administrative settings. The Meyers Marvel series shines a light on our most prominent alumni that have influenced the nursing profession. Tonight, we are thrilled to speak with Dr. Judith Haber. And Dr. Haber is Professor Emeritus at the NYU Rory Meyers College of Nursing, and she's a recognized leader in oral systemic health, psychiatric nursing, and evidence-based practice. She's the Executive Director of the National Oral Health Nursing Education Practice Program and was the lead author of the landmark 2015 publication titled Putting the Mouth Back in the Head, Hint to Hinat. Dr. Haber contributed to the 2022 report Oral Health in America, Advances and Challenges, and serves on multiple advisory boards, including the Veterans Administration, National Advisory Board, and the American Heart Association Scientific Healthy Smiles and Healthy Hearts Advisory Board. A fellow of the American Academy of Nursing and New York Academy of Medicine, she has received numerous accolades, including 2019 Edge Runner Award for the Oral Health Nursing Education Program that we mentioned from the American Academy of Nursing. Tonight's event will be moderated by Dr. Sharon Wexler, and Dr. Wexler is the president of our Meyers Alumni Association, and she serves as professor and the department chairperson at Pace University College of Health Professions. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to you, Sharon.
Thank you. Thrilled to be here. And as Meyers president, I've had the honor of interviewing quite a few of the Meyers Marvels. I'm particularly excited because Dr. Haber was one of my faculty in my master's program at NYU a long time ago. Unfortunately, I could not remember what she taught me, but she did leave a lasting impact on me. So, Dr. Haber, thank you for being here. Let's get started. So, throughout your career, you have navigated many interesting circumstances and challenges. How did taking advantage of new opportunities and collaboration help you in these situations?
Well, hi, Sharon, and hi, everybody. So delighted to be here this evening to take part in this dialogue. It's been exciting to think about sharing some thoughts and past experience and present experiences with you. I think one of the keys to success, for me anyway, but I think for other people too, is the expression carpe diem, seize the moment and seize the opportunities. It's not just about creating opportunities, but seizing and taking advantage of opportunities that present themselves. So, I mean, I could go back 50 years because, as you know, I've had a long career. But if you think of circumstances, and if you think of, actually, I could go back further than that, because when I was a master's student at NYU, I was part of the cohort that really developed the first advanced practice nursing workforce component. Clinical nurse specialists in psychiatric nursing, pediatric nursing. Shake Topalian remembers this well. We were there together, right, Shake? Claire Fagan was the program director. She was certainly an amazing role model, and she really instilled in us the whole concept of being the first. And you know how first children are. They are always ambitious, they're always leaders, and they are always looking out for new opportunities. So I have to say that was really the first opportunity I had to see a bigger picture out there, but actually did not really move forward with that till a number of years later, when another ingredient I think is so important is becoming involved in professional organizations, because they really provide the context for what is happening and what is going to happen. So I have to say that I cut my clinical health policy teeth at the ANA under the tutelage of, I still remember this, Karen O'Connor, who was the director of policy at ANA back in the 60s and 70s. And as this workforce grew, the opportunities to move it, shape it, and grow it in terms of education, credentialing, scope of practice, scope and standards of practice, and then reimbursement really all fit together so nicely, as well as the evolution of the advanced practice psychiatric nursing nurse practitioner role, which came much later, but everything that preceded it were provided opportunities to participate in a bigger world than I ever imagined participating in. And so this really led to my participation with others, because no one does anything alone. It's all, change is a team sport. And whether you're collaborating with members of your own profession or members of your own profession and those of others, and they're not necessarily other health professionals, they could be legislators, policymakers, government officials. These are all people that you have opportunities to interact with and to influence and drive change with. So reimbursement, because what is really the true legitimatization of a role, but getting paid for it in a credible, interprofessional way. So Medicare reimbursement was really my first foray in navigating the waters of Washington. And for most of you, I know Shakay will remember this. Susan Bauer-Ferris will remember this. Hi, Susan. And others who are of my generation will remember that in 1989, the first Medicare reimbursement for advanced practice nurses occurred. And this was after the nurse practitioner movement led by Loretta Ford emerged and became fact, not in psych, but in primary care. And PEDS was the start. And so just like the nurse practitioner movement grew and role grew out of a need, a gap in healthcare access, in physician shortage areas, so Medicare reimbursement for advanced practice nurses in rural areas became the first legislative change to influence the reimbursement legitimacy, I call it, of advanced practice nurses. It took another 10 years for us to get, for the nursing profession, not us, but the nursing profession, to obtain Medicare reimbursement for all advanced practice nurses. And believe me, navigating the waters and the halls and corridors and offices of Washington at the state level influencing at the state level, our national legislators, congresspersons and senators. It was a 10-year journey. And during that journey, the scope and standards for psych nurse practitioners was written. They were already written we were really almost just about the last ones to come on board. But you felt like a beggar knocking at their door every year when you went around educating the staffers and the legislators themselves about the importance of the advanced practice nursing workforce. Well, it takes time, takes a lot of educating and influencing, but finally, in collaboration, and really, I have to give credit to ANA and their government affairs office for really leading the coordination of the nursing effort to make this happen. And we did have to influence others outside our profession, physicians, legislators, policymakers, staffers were really important. But in 1998, we went back to the Hill, and all of a sudden it was, oh, hi, this is such a great idea. Yes, we're going to make it happen. And guess what? It happened. But it took 10 years of navigating all of those different sectors who were part of making this monumental change happen, which really changed the nature of practice for advanced practice nurses that has continued to evolve to this day. And you never get 100% of the pie. So we did have to take a little haircut in terms of the reimbursement rate. It wasn't 100% of the physician rate, but guess what? We were in the door, and it has only progressed since then. So that's one example of collaboration across professions, because it wasn't just psych nurse, advanced practice nurses who wanted this. It was every advanced practice nurse, every nurse practitioner. CNSs were not so well accepted at first, but we weren't settling for them being left out. So it really was collaboration across specialties, across professions, and across people who made it happen. And it did happen. So that's one big example of a major life happening, professional life happening for me, that illustrates those kind of points. And believe me, networking is extremely important. Having your elevator speech, your talking points, all of that. But you know what? I think that just about everybody in this audience knows that and has done that. And there are so many more examples that have occurred, over the years to make our profession shine.
Thank you, Judy. I was going to ask you about your involvement in professional organizations. You've done a beautiful job on answering that already. Can you talk a little bit about how you've integrated your career and volunteer work? Because you've done a tremendous amount of volunteer work in many different avenues.
Well, at that time with Medicare, I was very involved with ANA. I was involved in many councils, committees related to advanced practice. But I would have to say my other home organization at that time was APNA, the American Psychiatric Nurses Association. And then NOMF, in my role at NYU as Associate Dean for the graduate programs, NOMF became very important to me and to our graduate program faculty. We made many presentations. We started the Psych Nurse Practitioner SIG there. We We did so much there, didn't we, Caroline? It was great. And of course, over the years, I have, and partly because of my work in oral health, I have become involved with a lot of other organizations, non-nursing organizations, like being on the board of the Santa Fe Group, which is an oral health think tank, and on other boards that honestly I am asked to be on because not only am I an expert in oral systemic health, but I'm a nurse. I'm not a dentist. So I bring in another, and I will say, very valuable perspective to these groups, like the American Heart Association Scientific Advisory Board that I'm on for this Healthy Smiles initiative, which is aims to bring blood pressure screenings into dental offices as a standard of care. Who would ever have thought that? Anyway, so it's been very interesting being part of Surgeon General reports and so on. It's really brought me as a nurse to many tables that I would never have expected in my life to be on. But the nursing voice is a very important voice. And in turn, I bring all of this oral health policy, education policy, and whatever other kind of work back to the nursing organizations. So just as one example, you probably don't know that I work on getting a Medicare dental benefit in Medicare. Almost 50% of adults 65 and older do not have a dental benefit, have any dental coverage, insurance. What's included in Medicare Advantage is pretty sketchy. But the point I want to make is that I've worked with a coalition of 250 organizations, interprofessional, to spearhead the initiative, a national initiative to obtain a Part B, Medicare Part B dental benefit. Well, we haven't gotten there yet, but over the last 5 years, but we've been working on it for probably 8 years. We have gotten authorization from CMS, because you don't need legislation for that, for a number of medically necessary dental services for a number of medical conditions, because they're inextricably linked, like cancer. You better have your teeth in good shape before you get chemo, is the bottom line. Or you better have your your mouth in good shape without infection or inflammation before you get a heart transplant or a kidney transplant, et cetera, et cetera. So we have been very successful. I have brought probably 20 nursing organizations into this coalition as members, and in turn feed all the accomplishments we have made back to them, as well as requests for supporting letters every time there's a change in the physician fee schedule to accommodate one of these small victories. So it's really a partnership. I go out to other organizations, but I bring the stuff back to nursing, to hopefully enlist them as oral health champions.
Thank you. Switching avenues a little bit. When we met to prepare for this, I shared with you, Judy, some memories that I had being a student sitting in your master's classes. One of them was, one memory was that you were always dressed exceptionally well. Everything looked just perfect, and always the right thing for the right occasion. And I remember you talking to us students about the importance of dressing for success. The second thing that you talked about that stuck with me was the concept of always having an elevator speech ready at your hands. My PhD students now probably hate me because the first thing I make them do when they come into the program is craft an elevator speech about what their program of research is going to focus on. And they look at me and they say, elevator speech, could like where does that come from? And I know exactly who it comes from. And it's you, Judy. So can you talk a little bit about the concept of dressing for success and the elevator speech? Because those are two things that really, stuck with me for a very long time. So perhaps you can expound a little bit on that.
Sure. Well, I do believe you have to not only dress for success because you need to look the part, but you need to be able to speak the part and act the part. And so looking professional in your attire, and I have coached many people on what to wear for presentations. If they want to look professional and be thought of as an important, powerful professional. But I think the elevator speech, which is something the students would hate, my making them do, requiring them to do, is really something every professional should have in their pocket. And I was stunned when we would do interprofessional work with the College of Dentistry, School of Medicine, Pharmacy School from LIU. And we had a case conference at the end where the students would talk about themselves and their role. First of all, there is such a level of ignorance about the important roles that nurses play, what their scope of practice is, whether you're an RN, a CNS, an NP, a PhD, it doesn't matter. The world at large is pretty ignorant about it. So I was struck by that one more time, Sharon, and said to those students, you must be able to articulate your role and the scope of it, of your practice. And that is so important. How many nurses do you know who introduce themselves with a first and last name and indicate what their title and role is? I have seen far too many who don't. So to me, putting yourself together and packaging yourself, whether it's in what you wear, and I don't care if you only own one outfit, own it. Doesn't have to be expensive. There are all kinds of places to suit yourself out very attractively for not a lot of money. And then to have an elevator speech for the purpose that you need it, and you can have many different ones, depending on the setting in which you need to share that little elevator speech about who you are, what your role is, maybe about your professional role in general to educate people, and then specifically what you, as whatever kind of professional you are, a researcher, Jen, public health person, an academic. It's very interesting because people are in general very ignorant about all the important roles that nurses have to play. And one of the things is Dorothy Houlihan on here? I thought I saw her name. One of the things that phrases that I love is when someone who's involved in palliative care talks about sharing sacred spaces with individuals and families during challenging times. And to me, that says so much. It has stuck with me for so many years. And I still think it's one of the most profound components of an elevator speech that describes what a palliative care nurse, whether RN, advanced practice, physician, but especially nurses. And so you need to think about what's unique, what's valuable, and you need to think in sound bites of what will catch the attention and the respect of other people about what you are all about and offer to your patients, your students, to policy, to research. What is it? Think about it and come up with a couple of sentences that really say it with a bang. And then you have to act professional. So you need to forget the ums and the you knows and the I means and the I justs and listen to yourself and your elevator speech. Say it out loud, say it to a mirror, record it if you have to, but perfect it. And believe me, you will see people, and you may already be doing it and have had much success with it, but for those of you who need to do it, do it. It will be well worth your while. And you know what? We always have to change them. I'm changing mine all the time, depending on the audience that I'm playing to. And believe me, you're playing to an audience and you want to connect with them. So you need to think about it and write yourself a set of bullet points. And they're easy to use on Zoom if you're not in person. Otherwise, memorize them. I mean, it may sound mean or very down to earth, but it's true. It's really true, and it works. So, there's a real synergy between looking the part, speaking the part, acting the part, whether you're in a volunteer role or a professional role. People
Thank
take
you,
you
Judy.
seriously.
And those words have really stayed with me for a long time. We're coming to the end of our time. Before we open it up for questions, can you, Judy, very briefly tell us what is one thing that matters most to you at this stage in your career and your life?
Paying it forward. At this point in my career, I'm all about, and I've always mentored, and I've mentored many people over the years. And mentoring is not the only important thing. Being a role model is another important thing. All of that is what is the most valuable contribution I can make to passing the torch, if you will, creating a legacy that passes to another generation so that they will really drive change even further than my generation has.
Thank you,
So,
Judy. Thank you. So now, if you have any questions, please put them into the chat and we'll get to as many as possible. Okay. I don't see anything in the chat. Janet, can you check also? Okay, here is one. Judy, you've done so very much in your career. Can you briefly tell us about a significant change that you've successfully led? You have so many to choose from. Pick the one that you most want to talk about briefly.
well, I've already spoken. I mean, I think that my greatest contribution, I've already spoken about psych nursing, so I'm going to leave that aside for the moment. But I really think that my biggest contribution to public health, it has been my involvement and my nursing leadership role, my national leadership role in advancing oral health for all. It has really resulted in such significant policy change. It has been created a sea change in not only nursing education, but in interprofessional education. It's been involved in such exciting policy work. It's really been a capstone. It's been 20 years. So, and honestly, it grew out of my psych. My interest in psych was integrating physical health with mental health. And this, my same idea, and also Maddie Mezzi's work on integrating or geriatric care with overall care, nursing care. And I said, we could do the same thing with oral health, integrate oral health into overall health. And that has been my mantra and my mission for the last 20 years. And it's been an unbelievable one.
Absolutely. So we have quite a few questions. I think we have time for one. So here is one that's right up your alley. What advice would you give for someone starting back to school after a very long hiatus? And the person that submitted it says, you were my instructor in 1996, and then life happened. So what advice would you like to give her?
Go for it. Go for it. One of the things I really do believe that people do have to leap into uncharted territory and never feel they have to be fully prepared for or qualified to engage in whatever new venture they are embarking on, whether it's school or a job or a career change. Just do it. And it will all be okay because you are all quick learners and you'll surprise yourself at how well you will do. I've never had anything professionally meaningful that I have engaged in where I felt fully qualified when I began that, whatever that journey was, whatever that chapter was.
Well,
So
before I turn it
go
back,
for it.
great advice. Before I turn it back over to Jen, I want to congratulate you on being a living legend.
Oh, thank you.
It's very cool to know a living legend. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Haber and Dr. Wexler. We're gonna close the event tonight. But I just want to say, Dr. Haber, your story of really like seizing the moment, not waiting for the right perfect moment, but just taking the opportunity and run with it and being persistent was a really much needed message for many of us, I think. I know it was for me, and your message about changes being team sports, I think, and also paying it forward, I think those are really the spirit of NYU Meyers alums. So I want to thank all our guests who attended tonight. I know I'm gonna go work on my elevator speech now, so but you'll be receiving a survey later this evening. And we encourage you to share your feedback about our program. And just a reminder that the next event is the Alumni and Families Weekend on October 25th. So please don't miss this in-person event to celebrate Alumni Award honorees and reconnect with your NYU experience. So with that, have a great night and thank you for being here.